You're asking me to prediction.
Yeah. How's it going to go? And who will be lifting the trophy?
I feel a lot of pressure because when you're on 100% around about,
you bigged yourself up throughout the tournament. You're at 100%.
I didn't. I got that wrong by 2 points.
Yeah,
I didn't dare tell you the truth.
95%
What I said to you afterwards would have been different. The Aussies have what I've said, a gear where they can just in the middle of a game adjust. But I would be absolutely petrified. Now, I don't know how Samoa celebrated after that. Now, if the Samoans have gone, what is the famous drink that the Samoan lads like? It's the, every barbecue went to, they all have this, it's like a wine, I don't know what it is anyway. I hope that the boss said, listen guys, enjoy yourself, but you're in for 11. Let's not be at it. We've got one more job to do in it. And if you know, Joe's going to make a point in a minute about how many Penrith players there is in this World Cup, and how many top quality players. You know the difference between Samoa this year, mate? Probably got 3 or 4 best players in the world who have won back-to-back championships at Penrith. So do you know what they'll do to each other? Come on, this is not finished. Aussies have been 1-5 to win this game. Yeah, 1-5, maybe even short. There you go. I'd take any handicap bet on, we can't bet, any handicap bet on Samoa, you'd be taking, because whatever the bookies set it at, 16, they'll do better than what that is. Yeah, they'll not disrespect themselves, and they'll do better than that is. And do you know what? I thought about this. What would be the way they could win? How do you beat a team like Australia? You can't bully them, because once it gets into an intense thing, they get better. They get tougher and more intense. Can you out athleticism? Probably not. Not really. They've got outside backs up to me look like some. I mean, who's the kid who's playing centre who's actually a 6? Oh, they're all on about. Looks like Ash Hanley with a haircut. Whiten. Yeah. He's playing out of position, but he looks world class. Yeah. He looks absolutely world class. I'm watching everywhere. Do you know one thing that you've never seen at Aussies? And I've watched 20 years at Aussies, maybe long. From Brett Kamali to the great Darren Lockyer. You all talk about halfbacks all the time. It's all you've ever talked about. Halfbacks. I've not mentioned them. I've not mentioned Cleary, Cherry Adams and Munster. What does that tell you? That this is an overall unbelievable team without having the Andrew Johns, who would be standing head above. Johns were head above every world. Lockyer was best player at world for 4 years. They were all the best players, you know. Peter Sterling, Wally Lewis. These were the best players in the world in the pivotal position. These halfbacks haven't been the best players in this tournament. Let me tell you, my friend, the lad at Samoa's been better, if not better than all of them. Do you get me? So you look at this, and it's the first Aussie team where you're not dominated by a Billy Slater at 4. Just there's no one dominating. Do you think Tedesco's had his quietest tournament?
I think it's been brilliant. Yeah, it's not been
overshadowed by Ado Carr.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying though? Tedesco come here and you're watching it and you're thinking, how good are these when we're not actually talking about Cleary? I said to my mates, Cleary's the best player in the world, and they went, what do you mean? And they're watching it, they goes, what, he's best player in the world? And I'm having to explain to him that at the moment, he's the best player in the world. Yeah. Do you get me? Yeah. Munster, one of the best halves. You look at it.
I think that's just because they're so good everywhere and they're playing this complete performance.
So I'm going a 12-point game. Samoa will shock them early, and we'll all be on the Samoa skateboard, like I said last week. Right. But then the green machine will just adjust. Imagine having that Grand Prix and your car's just gone wrong because you're getting beaten. You come in, and within 2 minutes they can just tweak 3 things, and they're better than. Unfortunately for everybody, they're the best team in the world. They're the best team in the history of the game. They're probably in the top 3 sporting teams of any sport in the world based on. Yeah. I think they've got beat once, twice in about 25 Test matches, 40 Test matches. They say the All Blacks are the greatest rugby team in the world. Well, I think these form stacks up with All Blacks any day of the week at Rugby Union.
It's a fair comment, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Craig's on for Australia.
Yeah, Craig. I suppose I'll go a bit more than 12 because I hope Craig's right. I hope, and the key is, have they been brought back down to earth immediately? Are they content that they've rewritten the history books and they've made it to a final? You can't see it because they've got so many Penrith players and players who know what it's like to go on to the next game. How much is those last 2 games taken out of him? You know, I think, you know, if I compare it to the grand final, you kind of knew, you know, Saints are Australia, Leeds Samoa. They've got through a couple of games where it was always going to be really close and there were underdogs like Leeds did. When it gets to a final, you know that, you kind of know what's going to happen, and the question is, how close can the Samoans push them? I hope Craig's right. I hope they can come out, and I'm sure they will come out. My worry is, in the latter stages of a game, the Aussies will unpick him a bit more, and I think it probably will end up 3 tries rather than 2. So I'll go the Aussies by, you know, pretty much what the bookies are saying, 16-18. But let's hope the Samoans can keep it as close. I mean, I thought what the Kiwis did really well was they had to try a lot. They were getting the ball out early, and they knew what they needed to do to try and beat them, and they executed it nearly to perfection, certainly in that first half. So the Samoans are going to have to do that. Luai is going to have to step up and have the game of his life, because it's going to have to come through him mainly with his the other lad, Clifford. Clifford, the other half-back.
Munster?
No, for Samoa, Clifford.
It's not Clifford, it's...
Milford. Nice. So they're going to have to really step up. So let's hope we can do, and let's hope that they can spread the ball around and break them down. But yeah, you worry the Green Machine will end up doing it. A bit of a canter by the end. But everybody in that stadium, with the exception of the small, you know, can the fans really get behind Samoa and lift him?
That's what they said.
Yeah, let's hope so. It could end up being, you know, again, Samoa just beating the handicap and showing that they can have that guile and compete all the way through.
Let me just... They were actually a bit worried a year ago about the Aussies going into this World Cup. They just lost to Tonga. They lost to Tonga a couple of years ago. The form isn't actually that good. For the best team, they are undoubtedly the best team in the world. The form wasn't that good. They were worried. They lost a couple. The form isn't very good at all, to be honest. If you take out the World Cup, which they should win all
arguably, when it matters, it's been brilliant.
They lost to Tonga. They've lost to. They were at one point. I think a year or two ago. They're the 4th ranked team in the world.
Sam, could you get us that while Joe's talking? Get us Aussie's last 30 games. Just make sure we've got that right.
They're the 4th. A year or two ago, they were 4th ranked team. They were New Zealand. It went New Zealand, England, Tonga, Australia. Yeah. Obviously, I think most people who are in the rugby went, well, that can't be right. They've had a bad game or so, but they've been judged on it. But facts are, they were the 4th ranked team a year or two ago in the world. So they were a bit of nervousness. I think they've took all the nerves away. I think every single position, if you look at every single position, they've got... I think the Aussies are going to put the stamp on this game. Dad's going to disagree with me. Obviously, we have. I think they win by 22. I think what Samoa have done is unbelievable. Not taking any... I'm generally not trying to take much away from Samoa there. I think Samoa have done brilliant. They beat England. I think that were amazing. England didn't perform the best. They performed iffy, and then they got it done. They had the big moments, and they got it done. But I think the Aussies, they're prepared for this. They like you said, Jim. I agree with what you said about. I think they panicked a bit in that semi-final, because I think they not done a win comfortably, but I thought they could just do what Dad said, just squeeze them enough and actually just get the win. I think the panic set in a bit. Go, oh bloody hell! I think they got a bit worried, but then they come up with the magic when it were needed. And I think they're going to. I think they're going to show everyone we are the best team in the world. A year or two when you put us 4th in the ranking, F you know what I mean? Ridiculous! How dare you ever do that to us again? Yeah. We are the best. This is our stamp. We've not really bothered about the rest of the World Cup. This is our game. I think they're gonna take it to Samoa. I think the big thing on my one is, can Samoa then match that? And if they do, fair enough.
How long?
Yeah, or how long can they match that? But I think they're gonna bring it worse than we've ever seen.
Right.
But obviously, can Samoa do? I think you'll see something amazing from the
Samoa,
Aussies.
Isn't it, what they can do?
Yeah.
And those rankings, you know, it was the drop down, but it's because the Aussies refused to play as many games.
They didn't play for 3 or 4 years
because they were saying no one's up to our level, and Aussie's form in the World Cup and when it really counts is amazing.
Phenomenal.
But in a couple of Test matches when they were probably mixing the team around a bit, they got beat, didn't they? And yeah, they're out to prove that they are rightly the number one.
I'm going Aussies by 22.
Yeah. So we're building up here, Mick. It's building up.
I know.
Up by a try. We've got 2 tries, 3 tries, 4 tries. Lots of people. But there's loads of people who are being dismissive, which is clearly frustrating Craig, and understandably. They're going, tournament's over. Aussies will win by 4. Aussies will win by 4, and not giving Samoa their credit.
Don't get me wrong, Jimmy.
But we also know that the Aussies could turn it on.
Listen, I've watched enough international rugby league to know that when you look at the last World Cup final over here, it was 34-2. Australia absolutely controlled that game. They didn't let New Zealand play. The previous time it was over here in 2000, it was the same. 44-12 at Old Trafford. 2 thumping wins. I hope for the sake of this tournament and the legacy, Samoa do manage to keep hold of Australia and grab them by the coattails, because I don't think anybody wants to be watching a World Cup final that blows out by 30-40 points. No, but you're right, Australia, with what they've got and the fact that we saw a little bit on Friday, but that's only because New Zealand had raised that intensity. They had to match that and then overcome that to obviously be in the final. But I don't think it'll be, I pray to God it's not going to be anywhere near the 20s. I want it to be closer. But I just think it's going to be a game too far for Samoa.
Yeah.
I just think it's a game too far. I can't see how. I know Matt Parrish has said we're building. I just can't see.
Well, based on what Joe said there, you've got New Zealand, Australia on the 14th and the 10th, 18. This is building up. Australia 24, New Zealand 26. Australia then beat Tonga 34-16. They then beat New Zealand 26-4 after that, so they revenged that. Then Tonga got the victory against Australia by 4. So they've played each of the thing, and then they've gone on 7. So they've lost 2, I think, in last 20.
So we've got Craig saying Australia by 12. Jimmy, pretty much what the bookmakers are saying, 16-18. Joe has gone by 22. We are kind of going from left to right, up. I don't know how much that game on Friday is going to take out of Australia, but if we know Australia, Malmaninga, they've had the extra day of preparation. Samoa, they've been in a bruising game as well against England. Like we say, ultimately I think it will be a game too far, and my big bold full 80 minutes prediction is going to be Australia once again will be crowned World Cup champions. Wow,
that's February, that one, mate.
Yeah, World Cup champions, and the scoreline will be, because I've been quite specific with my scorelines, it'll be Australia 38, Samoa 10.
28.
I can only see Samoa scoring twice. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. Matt Parrish, if you're watching, you can use this as your motivational tool. I'm not John Dutton, I'm not the World Cup organisers. We're not booking you on a Tuesday flight to back down under. But yeah, I'm going with 28. 12, 18, 22, 28.